And about 9 o'clock, my mom knocked my door saying that dad is not feeling well. So when I went to see my dad, he was watching TV. So I see that he had vomited quite a lot. And he complained about shoulder pain and arm pain, and he felt very dizzy. So we didn't know what happened. My mom thought that it was food poisoning. So he told me to start the car and bring your dad to hospital. My dad had a phase of the heart attack about 45 minutes. From the time he started vomiting and I prepared everything. So I parked my car at the lift, so waiting to pick up my dad. So I was thinking, why is my sister and my mom and my dad not down? Then I heard somebody screaming. It was my sister screaming. So she was screaming, help, save, need help. Then she was running around the corridor. So I heard my sister's voice. I parked my car back, I went up. My neighbor was there. My neighbor was doing CPR on my dad. He was doing compressions. But my neighbor wasn't doing so accurately. He was more on the higher side of the ribcage. Then my mom was also hugging my dad on the floor. She was crying, going hysterical. So he couldn't do properly. Then my mom was affecting how my neighbor was trying to save my dad. So I went there, I went up, I asked my mom to get off, I asked my neighbor to get off. I do it immediately. So I did compressions with my dad. First I checked for his breathing, then he got that no breathing, no pulse. I started to do it. Then I also did rescue breaths on my father. 10 plus minutes then the paramedics came. So my cousin who was around, then he also went to take the AED. But we didn't use the AED because the paramedics came at the right time when he was coming up. So my dad with the ambulance went to hospital, and only until then we know it's a heart attack. When the doctors came to see us in the A&E room and he said, who's next of kin? So your dad had a heart attack. Then it dawned upon us that that was quite serious. Then thankfully my skills in CPR, what I learned here, just went into use exactly because I went for the course from 4th to 6th November. My dad's heart attack was on 6th of Feb. So within a short time span, I still had the muscle memory and the knowledge to apply on my father. No, because I've learned well. We see the sign, my dad is totally out. My neighbor was already doing compression, so I knew that my dad was not breathing already. So I had to ask my mom to get off my father. My mom was hugging my dad on his shoulders. So my neighbor in that narrow HDB corridor, 3 persons over there, my neighbor couldn't do properly also. So I had to ask them to move away. I had to literally shout at my mom because she's already hysterical. I shout at her a bit rude, mom, get off. Then I asked my neighbor, say, after 7 o'clock, I will take over. Then I just did. I didn't went to think because it's my father. I knew he shaped that I need to save him immediately. I didn't hesitate, and the training itself was good. When you do on the manikin, right, it's stationary. When I do on your dad, your family member, it's different because manikin is rubbery, real human skin, right? And my dad had cold sweat before he collapsed. So in fact, it was a bit slippery. So, but he had a shirt on. I didn't take off his shirt. So I did, and you can really feel the crunch when you press down and the ribs crack. And that is actually a bit scary. But remember during the training, if the ribs crack, continue to do so. So keep pressing. I think normal people, if they crack, they may stop. They will want to hurt the person. But when training we went through is to continue. I rather his heart to be pumping than to stop and wait for our ambulance to come. And paramedics take about 10 minutes to come also, so it's quite bad. Okay, Taufik, because he went through the class, right, he always repeats the important points again and again until all of us knew. I remember my class had some Bangladeshi workers, even seated beside me. His English was so bad. Sometimes he asked me, what's this? So Taufik repeated, pause, wait for them to catch up. Because me and my other guys, okay, 1 time, 2 times, we got it. So Taufik had repeated up to 6 times. Then he even asked them to stay back while we went for break. He spent time to teach them again. So through Taufik's repeated reminders to us, that's why all the important points were in my head. How to check for the signs, how to put him in the right position, and how to do the compression. I think the best one was the manikin. The manikin, because of the screen was beside me, right, I could see my compression rate. Then when he told me to do, keep constant, then I also told myself, when I doing on my dad, keep a constant rhythm all the way. Then the rhythm, 1000 do all the way, then here for any signs and do the way. Yeah, it was in my head. I think this hands-on experience with the manikin is very good. And in fact, you can do with people around you. So we did the manikin, then we do with our teammates. You have a proper experience. Because if in the past you use those inflatable mannequins, right, it's really too easy. You work with a hard mannequin with actual data to show how much you are pressing is actually more effective in a real life experience. Because if I'm doing on a stranger, then I may not be able to know that whether I'm doing too shallow. I remember the rhythm because when we do it, we did it quite many times. It was good. I can remember how the sensation was when you kneel down and press. That sensation when you kneel down and press, you do it often. You watch a video, watch a video. When you do it on training, it's better. You can remember it. Okay, my dad was in ICU for 1 week after the surgery. Then he was in the recovery ward for 1 week or so. So now he's doing good. He had only slight memory loss on the day it happened. So now he can walk, he can talk, he can eat. Everything is normal. Just that he's just a bit weak. But every day he wakes up, he feels that wow, he's alive. Because so many times you see people heart attack and die. So my dad is thinking, wow, he is lucky to be alive. So my dad is quite happy right now. Actually, when it happened, I applied for 3 days urgent leave. So my fellow colleagues asked me, hey, what happened to you? Why you take 3 days urgent leave? So I told them what happened. They were like, wow, we haven't learned for a long time. So I did tell them to learn from Taufik. Yeah, I did refer them because my department is new. I had to be certified in ISO. That's why my WSH department sent me for this course. So it was thankful I learned this course and had to use it within a few months' time. So I did ask my other department bus ops colleagues to also join the classes here. So I felt that this place has a good environment, small class group, a good teacher, and good equipment to teach you all about the skills. If you learn this thing, you can save your family member. That's the most important thing. If I happen to see somebody on the road collapse, you can also save a stranger. Thank you, Taufik, for helping me with all the skills to use it on my father at the right time.
Right.
Save my dad's life.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm so proud of you, really proud of you. Yeah, I always say this in class, yeah. It's not if it happens, when it happens. At least you need, first it is always a chore to do, but at least you have the knowledge rather than not doing anything at all. So in this case, you managed to say your loved one, your dad. All of us is very proud of you. You're the hero. The highlight is you, not me, it's you. Knowledge is power, but knowledge without doing anything is useless. But at least you do everything. We're so proud of you, man. Really can't say anything. Very proud of you.
Mr. China, so thank you for your bravery and for saving your dad and being such a good student and applying it. So on behalf of the company, we are very proud of you, and so this is a small token of appreciation for you.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you for passing the right skills to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for applying everything. Thank you.